Hey everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Spoiler Force Podcast. You can find more episodes on any podcasting platform such as Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure to follow Spoiler Force Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch.
This is Ming Chen. I love you, Ricky. I love Spoiler Force Podcast. Listen to it, everybody.
This is a FlowGasm Beats production.
All right, so this is another episode of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. This week's guest is someone who's been on the podcast before. If you haven't seen the posts that I've made on Instagram and on Facebook, definitely check it out and follow the social media if you haven't. Again, this week's guest is someone who's been on before. Let me just introduce him real quick here. Austin Thao of the Platinum Podcast. Hey.
What's good, everybody?
Thank you for doing this again, man. I know the last time we collaborated was back on your podcast. I think back in November, December, around there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. I'm glad to see you doing well. I've been following your podcast like crazy. I love seeing what you've done so far, especially with the guests you've pulled.
Mm-hmm.
So how have you been, man?
I've been good, man. And, talking about the guests that I've had, it surprises me to this day that I'm able to talk to so many, special and incredible artists and people with different careers and passions, So big ups to them for, actually responding and coming on to my podcast, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Man, it's been crazy to see, like I've seen your growth and just you went from just a few episodes from there, because you're doing seasonal, I guess, for your podcast now, right? And you're not doing like a weekly release, or
yeah.
or are you changing it up to that?
I'm doing weekly, right? But then I switched it up to do season 2, right? Because season 1 was kind of like a stepping stone and kind of like to try it out to see if I really liked it. And then when I did season 2, that was when like, okay, I like it and I'm actually going to be taking it serious. You know what I mean? So that's why I called it season 2, because it was more serious and more like, this is what I'm going to do.
So are you currently on a break right now then?
No, honestly, I've contacted. Okay.
What was that?
I've contacted people and they just haven't been responding. That's legit the reason why I wasn't posting the past like 2 weeks or so, but yeah, I mean, I'm coming back on. There should be an episode dropping next week, Wednesday. So
nice, looking forward to that, man. But before we continue on, I do want to let the listeners know and the viewers know, I'm on the countdown to episode 100, so definitely give the follow and subscribe to Spoiler Force Podcast on all social media platforms, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you listen to the podcast. Even if it's audio, I'm on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and so is Platinum Podcast. So definitely follow our audio links as well. Link should be in the description. But yeah, man, I'm excited. Just going when I look back at like when we first collaborated back on like episode 53 of my podcast, man, how far we've come. Like I talked to DC Reacts about this a lot too, just looking back, and it keeps me humble, just when we first podcast together, man, it was through a fucking audio call, no visuals like this, because at the time you were still doing in-person interviews. So like for you, that was a different move too, to do like a Skype call or Facebook call like that. And now we're like using StreamYard, or people are using Zoom and different web chatting programs and whatnot. So I'm glad to see that we both come this far together. And it's been nothing but support from you as well, man. I'm very happy to have you back on the podcast, man.
For sure, bro.
So with the guests that you've had, has there been anything that's like, I guess, were there any moments that you were like kind of hesitant to ask them, or were they people you already wanted to ask?
I think they were always, in the list. I keep all all the future guests and potential guests in a list. I write sticky notes, put it on my desktop and stuff like that, just to keep it there. So if I do get them and contact them, then I do. But yeah, I think I look back at my childhood, or not even childhood, look back a couple years and see who's inspired me or kind of like motivated me to do something, right? So that's why I have so many Hmong artists that come on to my podcast, because they've inspired me through their music. And it's crazy to think that I'm able to get them on my podcast when they've inspired me for such a long time when I was still a child. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, the same for me too, man. Like in a way, you kind of put these people on a somewhat higher pedestal because you see
yeah.
like the success that they're pulling or do like what they're doing with what they want. Like back in my episode of LP, man, I was telling LP like I was so psyched to get him on my podcast because he's someone I've followed since I was a kid too,
Right.
and when I was telling him like, yo, you were like on a pedestal for me because like now I got someone who helped pioneer Hmong rap, and he was a really humble and nice guy. So he was being very modest, and he was like, no man, don't do that, man. Like I'm just like I'm a regular person. But if like especially when it comes to just being Hmong, man, like it's hard to find people that are similar to us, even though there's like a lot of different Asians out there, like the not Hmong YouTubers, but like the Asian YouTubers back in the day. A lot of those guys that we looked up to because they were the closest that we had to seeing like a Hmong person somewhat make it.
Right.
So I think with the content today, man, there's so many opportunities for Hmong people out there, and like I've seen, like we've seen this stuff like on these Hmong podcasting pages or like these Hmong groups, like everyone's doing podcasting now, and there's even like mini shows or whatever you want to call it, or like reaction videos and all that stuff, like all sorts of content, instead of just being like the musician or the public speaker or something like that, something that was usually in the regular lane for Hmong people.
I think it's awesome though, you know what I mean? There's so many, I think we talked about it earlier. There's so many avenues, there's so many ways people could create content now, you know what I mean? Like there's even, Hmong TikTokers, which is I don't really use TikTok, but I know there's Hmong TikTokers out there. So I think there's just so many ways to create content, get your voice out there, get the word out there, and it's a good thing, really.
So you have a TikTok account then? Is that what you were kind of implying?
I have a TikTok account, yes. I have the app. I just don't use it. I don't know. I can't get kind of okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's scary to think about, you look down at your phone on TikTok and then you look back up and it's already nighttime. You know what I mean? For me, that's a scary like thought process to like see, because my girlfriend, she uses TikTok for hours, and I'm just like, what the heck? Like, how can you just be on your phone sitting and keep swiping for a new video for like 3-4 hours? You know what I mean? Straight, no break.
I like the platform, and like in a sense where it's new, so it gives like a kind of like an even playing field when it comes to like followers or trying to find exposure. But I don't know, man. I feel like an old head when I talk about TikTok. I feel like I can't do it. It's not for me, man. I like not so much the whole dancing and stuff like that, but it's just like I don't know. Like I had the same kind of talk with Cloudy McDoom last week. Just like when you feel like you're a little bit too old to do some sort of content. I think for me is I might be just psyching myself out, but I can't see myself doing it. I can't.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I've been thinking about it. Right, I've been thinking about making TikTok videos or creating content on TikTok, but just not consuming the content on TikTok. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think I've seen like a lot of people do like tutorials on TikTok, like quick tutorials. I think that was pretty cool. Seeing a lot of like cooks using TikTok for that kind of platform. So I like that way. I just like I said before, I just feel like it's a bit too new, too hip. Yeah. I feel like you're just out. For me, you just feel like it's kind of out of place.
Yeah.
So I don't bother with it.
Yeah.
So, man, with everything that's been going on for you, man, I think I saw a post on your Facebook? Your mom's with the like public court or something like that. Is that what's
Yeah,
happening?
she's shout out to my mama. She's uh what is it? No, I just lost it too. She's a part of the city council in our district back at home in Appleton. So in our district, she's the older person. I think that's what they call it, the older person. She pretty much like takes care of the decisions within our district and makes like see if we need like new parks or like stuff like that in the city. So yeah.
Is that something you were ever interested in, like working for the city like that?
I was, man, because my family, we have a like there's the Hmong community and the Hmong council, stuff like that. And my dad is actually the Tao president of the 18 clans. So yeah, we run deep in the Hmong politics stuff. You know what I mean?
Is that for like the overall Hmong people, or is that just like for your
Yeah.
state?
No, like overall.
Holy crap!
Yeah. So like he talks with people from everywhere really that is in the council, so got a lot of friends in Minnesota, Fresno, Australia, even like France, even like it's crazy. But yeah, I've thought about it just because well, one, because they've done it, right, and they're still doing it, so of course kind of like just kind of follow your parents' footsteps. But at the same time, I really want to change a lot of Hmong people's stuff. You know what I mean? I think we could do a lot. I think I could do more good to the Hmong people as an individual, because I don't know, I just don't see us as like growing, with society. And I
Yeah,
think it's very very hard for people to change. And I think I could just, in the future, I don't know, we'll see if I even do it.
yeah. We kind of talked about this earlier before we were recording about the whole community. Whether should we change and evolve, or should we just stick to the past and kind of keep our roots? I think that's a huge. I don't want to say battle, but that's not the right word. But it's a huge change in the community, because now it's like, do we sacrifice our old roots and traditions to make change for our future, or do we just just keep everything and don't move on?
Right.
And I don't know. For me, I'm like, my folks we're more progressive, so I don't really. This is just me. Monk folks, y'all can hate me for this, but I don't really care about the monk traditions. I don't really care for all that. I've always felt like some of the stuff has been very backwards, very hypocritical. I do find beauty in it, in the sense where, like, the whole, how the community came together, how there's different clans, and our clothes, the kind of representation that each clan brings,
Yeah.
or languages when it comes to dialects. But at the same time, like, our history, man, as Hmong folks, we don't have much. We've lost so much in this whole transition from, from, I guess, the old. I don't know too much about Hmong history, but from when we dispersed from China to all over the world, and then with the whole Vietnam War thing, like, we've lost a lot of our real culture, and now we're just a mixed culture of people now. Like, it surprises me too. Like, even when it comes to our language, like, a lot of the words that I thought were Hmong, like, a lot of the stuff we say is like a mix of like Laos or Thai, or
Yeah.
even like Vietnamese. So to me, I'm just like, man, does it really matter then? Like, should we preserve something that's bound to be gone in the next couple generations, or should we just keep it and hold on to it, because that's all we have left? So it's a very big dynamic, and it's a big, like, I guess, in a way, like some sort of epiphany, in a way. Like, should we change as a group of people? I don't know. I feel like a lot of us nowadays, a lot of Hmong folks nowadays, are more willing to let it go than preserving it.
Yeah, I mean, I see it with my brothers too, you know what I mean? And my younger brothers, and even my younger sisters, like, they don't. My younger brothers, is because we grew up with our grandparents. Our grandparents raised us. We know how to speak, and understand Hmong, right? And we also went to Hmong school, so
Oh
we know how to
shit.
read. Yeah, so we know how to read, write, and understand it. But then as the years gone by, like, they don't really know how to speak it, and but then they can still understand, right? But then when it comes to my sisters, they're even younger. They're like in elementary. They don't even understand it. You know what I mean? So it's like, damn, it's like when we see like younger generations come up, depending on how you grow up, right? If you still have an OG living with you, of course you're gonna have to learn the language. But then if you don't, I don't see a lot of people actually really even understanding the language, and it's really scary to think. And I think that's why Hmong people are so scared to change, because they've lost so much already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's where like I have a lot of I guess you could say empathy or sympathy towards that, because it's hard, especially when you're like an older monk folk and that's all you have left, and then seeing like everyone just kind of throw it away like it's chump
Yeah.
change. It does sting a bit, But I think for us in today's society with the culture and how fast everything's evolving, it's either you're going to be left behind or you're going to be ahead of the game. There's no more in the middle.
Right. Yeah.
Let's take a look at some of these comments real quick here. Have some people on Twitch too. So,
Awesome.
Alex, what's up, Alex? Thank you for supporting, man. Alex has been supporting the podcast since day one. I know he follows you too. He was pretty excited for this episode. And Autopone, real talk. Yes, definitely, man. You got to be honest with these with these topics, man. I feel like a lot of people are kind of afraid to step on these sensitive topics, especially.
Sure.
Like especially with this year, right? Earlier this year, there was a lot of Hmong controversy. Not to laugh at it as if it's a joke. It's not funny or at all, but it is a serious topic. But at the same time, it's just like you kind of see how people reacted to it. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say who, but there was like a lot of these domestic violence cases that was happening, and like people were speaking out to it, and then some folks didn't even get the full story, and then then the other side comes out like, yeah, pointing fingers, yeah, this is what you get, da da da. It's I don't know. I feel like social media has really watered down how we see not just Hmong culture or the Hmong community, but overall everything. There's no more like facts anymore. Everyone's just basing things off headlines, clickbaiting stuff, and opinions opinions nowadays are more like you're either with me or you're against me. It's wild as hell. And so like I just feel, back kind of reeling this back to the Hmong community thing. I kind of just feel like if we don't change now, then we'll never change at all.
Yeah, man. I mean, the thing is, like, I've said this before on different episodes of my podcast. To be able to be successful, you must learn how to adapt. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that we let go of the Hmong culture as a whole. You know what I mean? But we just learn how to adapt to this fast-paced, moving society that we do live in, because we're not gonna.
Kind of lost there.
Oh, do you see
Wait, what was that? You said we were not gonna what?
Oh, of course we're not gonna be able to fully like compete with like Miga people, you know what I mean? And that's just facts. Because we're a minority of a minority, some people still don't even know who Hmong people are. But we do need to start, changing things in our community, and talking about things in our community. Just like this past year, Hmong women empowerment is such a big wave now, you know what I mean? But then again, some people are still against it because they're OGs, you know what I mean? And they still think about, like the man should be dominant and stuff like that. But then, we do need to, there's like, how do I put this without being canceled? There's certain topics that we need to bring up with our community. It's just that, is our community ready to hear it? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I don't think the OGs are ready to hear the conversations that we're us generation or even younger generations that's like pulling out, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I think I know it's really bad to say it. I don't know if I shouldn't say it. Never mind. But
Okay, how about this? Do you think then? Do you think then we should wait out like the previous generation to just wait them out and then see what changes? Or
yeah, man, I was trying to find a nice way to say
I
it.
mean, no, that's honestly like the most. That's the nicest way I can put it. I'm pretty sure there's other better ways to say it, but I'll be the
Yeah.
one to say it. Like, should we wait out the previous generation and just be like, okay, we'll just we'll wait till they're gone and then we'll make changes then. But this is the thing. It's full circle, man. Like when
Yeah.
like because we're gonna be the old heads that are like that in the next 20 to
Right.
30 years, and then they're it's gonna, the consequences of that. We're gonna be the ones that are all right. We're gonna wait them out, and they're gonna be gone, and then
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, like, I don't think waiting is the correct answer. I think actually doing is the correct answer. You know what I mean? Even if OGs are going to be against you, even if older generations going to be against you, I think the most important thing is just to do it, bring it up, talk, and bring up the situations that need to be said.
Yeah, I think definitely finding ways or building ways to make people comfortable to talk about these kind of topics.
Mhm.
And again, I'm no expert in this stuff, so whatever I say, don't take it to heart. But
We're just podcasters, guys.
yeah, it's just our opinions on this on these topics. But I just feel like if we can find a way to communicate with each other without tearing each other's throats out, I think that should somewhat solve the issues. But
Yeah.
with today, with how like everyone's perceiving things, and with how fast social media is evolving, and there's no real regulations on social media,
Mhm.
I just feel like it's just we're waiting for something to implode.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But to move on from this topic, man, kind of bring it back to your guests that you've had, man. Like I like what you've done, especially with bringing on a lot of these Hmong artists. Since sadly, since DC Reacts is no longer interviewing Hmong people no more, oh man, that stung a little bit, man. Like I'm happy for him. I'm happy for DC that he's moved on to this whole enlightenment, self-improvement kind of mentality and positivity and evolving. But I was like, I low-key miss having him interview Hmong rappers and musicians and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. What's funny is when he dropped that video saying that he's done with the reacts, that night I just could not sleep, right? And it wasn't because he didn't drop it yet, but then like that night before he dropped it, I didn't sleep. I was up all night, just watching podcasts and watching videos and stuff like that. Probably, I think 6 o'clock in the morning or something. He dropped it. It was probably a different time from Sac where he's from, but yeah, he dropped it and I watched it. I was like, oh damn, like I'm gonna make a video about this. You know what I mean? Like it was like 7 o'clock in the morning. I was like half asleep, half awake, and I was just like, man, like I see where he's going at, and of course I'm gonna miss it, right? We're all gonna miss it, but I think it's a good thing to see, just to see the transformation of DC. Sorry, he's been such a pillar in our community, such a voice in our community that it's cool to see his transition, and it's cool to see what he's gonna be doing or what he's doing right now with his channel and with his content creation.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to. I don't know if have you seen his last one? He talked about like meeting his dad and whatnot.
I haven't watched those yet, actually.
Okay, yeah. So I've been following that more. I'm not too big on the whole cryptocurrency or like flipping cards and stuff like that because I'm terrible at that. So I've been following his journey to meet his dad, and that's something I've been really invested in, I guess you could say, because seeing someone like him being vulnerable like that, and something that what I believe that should be personal, and he's putting it out there publicly like that. That takes a lot of willpower, I guess you could say, to do that, and you make content out of that. And I hope nothing but the best for him, man. But like I said, I was surprised, man, when he dropped that video. I was at work still, and I saw that. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
So, we talked before about if we should rebrand ourselves. I was thinking about like, man, is DC gonna rebrand his name then? Is he just gonna be like DC or David or whatever? But sticking to DC Reacts, man, I think that's still good. I really hope that he does somewhat come back and try to do the same content again. Maybe not the whole music thing, but react more to like just to the things that he's been reading or like with the whole cryptocurrency and stuff like that. So hopefully he does something like that again. And I was pretty close. I was like so close to asking him to jump on the podcast and talk about it. But I was like, I'm just gonna wait it out. I'm just gonna wait it out and see what he does the rest of this year. Then probably have him back on for the third time and talk about that with him.
I'm actually having him back on too. After next week, so in 2 weeks, the videos dropping in 2 weeks. That we haven't recorded anything, but then we're set to do a podcast real soon, pretty much on Monday. So, and I know he said that he's going to be on All That Talk with the girls there too. So I think they're going to be doing a live or something.
No, that's awesome, dude. They have a shout out to All That Talk. They have a huge platform with how fast they've grown. Like I was fortunate to be on their podcast or their talk show. I don't know. Are they really considered a podcast if they just do a
talk show? It's
yeah,
thing now.
I think it should be the same thing, right? I can't tell honestly, because is it really a podcast though if you don't have audio versions of it?
I
don't know. That's just what I think.
Video podcast, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Well, shout out to All That Talk, man. Like they've grown in the past year or so that I've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I was fortunate enough to be on their podcast or their episode where they did like a Father's Day themed episode.
Yeah.
And I was on that too. So if you guys haven't checked that out, definitely do. I'm on there. So, I like what they're doing. They're doing something right. For them to grow that quick and to be able to get supporters and to get monetary support as well. That's something that I've always wanted for the podcast. $5 here and there goes a long way, man. I think what they've done is definitely set a shifting pace or like changing lanes for Hmong people doing things on social media. Are you currently watching their love channel or their love show that they have?
Here and there, man. I think it's really interesting, and like I said, like earlier, content creation can be anything, and there's different avenues of content creation, and I'm just glad that they're able to do this type of content creation that really nobody's really or in the Hmong community that has done. So I'm very proud and it's very entertaining to see them do different types of entertainment or content creation, especially when it comes to love. You know what I mean? Everybody wants some love. So
Look, honestly, I when I first heard them talk about dropping this bachelorette show kind of thing, I didn't know how it was going to work out because virtual dating is definitely something very new.
Oh yeah.
And even as podcasters, like we know it's different when you're talking to someone through the screen versus in person. The vibes are different. So definitely when it comes to like finding someone to date or to even possibly marry, like could you imagine just trying to talk to your loved one through the phone for the next like couple years and then get married to them right away? I think that kind of intimacy is a little bit it's definitely more difficult to kind of grasp because they're not. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's like I kind of just was watching it just to see how it was going to unfold, and then it turns out like there were some people I knew that entered that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not gonna say who. I'll keep it quiet. But like there's like one or two people that I don't know them personally, but I know them through mutual friends, and so I saw them on that show, and then I DM'd some of my close friends. I'm like, how come y'all didn't join in on this thing? It was like an open invite, Like a lot of Hmong dudes were applying for this thing, and honestly, I would have loved to have been on the other side where like you're reading the applications and seeing who's applying. Yeah, because it's definitely a huge step in how we see how people are trying to find love these days. And I don't know, man. It was that part of the show was really intriguing to me, especially when they did like the cast reel. Like you see like all these people who are they gonna reveal for the show, like who is Charm, that's the bachelorette Charm, who is she gonna pick out of all these dudes? and some of these comments that I read, like they kind of made me laugh too. I'm not gonna lie, some of them made me laugh, but then like it's just I did not expect them to pick some like I wasn't expecting some of the guys that were on the show to be like who they were. Like a lot of these dudes were, how can I put, they're kind of like us, very like regular, like some regular ass Hmong dudes. Some of them are really nerdy. Some of them are really, more in tune with the Hmong side of things. I was surprised that they stuck with that versus like picking or going based on like looks, because a lot of TV shows they that is what it is, on TV.
Sure,
they go based on looks. So I was very surprised that they just picked out or picked who they did on the show and selected them. And I hope nothing but the best for all that talk, man. They're like I said, they're doing something right. They've been pulling. They've been getting some pretty good guests on their show too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully I could hop on there too. Maybe someday once I get a little bigger, get on their radar.
I think I've done it, but I think you can just like maybe if you don't get on their show, then you could just be a part, like a supporter or not supporter, but like a sponsor. Because I help. I don't know when they're gonna share my stuff, but then I did help sponsor their show or their bachelorette show when they were starting it. And
okay.
Yeah, I reached out to them. I was like, yo, how can I help you guys like get this thing going, man? So hopefully they do drop my content soon.
Yeah, for sure.
I know a lot of Hmong folks are taking advantage of that though. They have a huge platform for how fast they've grown.
Yeah.
Have you thought about doing was it crowdfunding? I know I asked you this on my podcast, but now with how fast things are going and you're doing more, like you're doing this kind of content now with the whole Zoom calls now, do you want to do, I guess, like a was it StreamYard, PayPal kind of thing, or Patreon, or the whole
I don't
thing?
think so. I think my answer is the same as the last time I gave it to you. I think if people do it, cool. But for me, I don't think I'm not really like, I don't really like to, honestly, I don't really like to get help. You know what I mean? I'm that type of person who's like, if I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do by myself. Of course, I appreciate anybody and everybody who watches and likes and shares and subscribes and stuff like that. But then I don't think I would be asking for any like donations or asking for any type of money. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. My mentality is a little kind of like to myself. You know what I mean? Like I like to do it myself. I like to start things myself. I like to, a lot with myself. So
yeah, I can see that. I think though, with the plus side of like monetary help though from your like viewers or followers, I think it does, as long as you use that money for the content you make and not just keep it. Right. I know some folks be doing that. There was one of my cousins, he's a Twitch streamer, and he was telling me about like he knew someone in the Twitch community that was doing that. They had followers and they were donating, and he didn't even use the money for the content. He just like used it for his own personal needs. And so like, and that's low key kind of, or not even low key, that's high key very fucked up to do that.
Yeah.
Like these people are paying you for your content or helping you, trying to improve your content, and then you just go on and just waste the money like that. I've been fortunate to have people donate to the podcast. Again, you don't have to donate to the podcast as long as you like, share, and subscribe to Spoiler Force. And while you're at it, like, share, and subscribe to Platinum Podcast as well. Monetary help, it does help with the content, but and in the long run, I like you, I just want to make something out of this. It's whether I have, whether I don't make it to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube or whether I get 10,000, it's something that this is something I know that I really want to do and push out with this content. But I've been like so inconsistent this year. I mean, you've seen like the personal thing that's been going on, but like it sucks, man. Like going on a long hiatus and then like coming back doing content, and then like we said before, I spoke to you earlier before we recorded, like I'm going on another hiatus soon. Yeah. And it sucks, man. Like being consistent, at least for this year, it sucks.
I mean, I think
Go
it's
ahead.
okay. You know what I mean? Because your followers are still there. You know what I mean? And yeah, some of them will probably drop off or like not pay attention, but then you have a really like loyal like following. You know what I mean? So I think even if you take off again, I think overall, I think it's gonna be okay. Once you come back, it's just gonna be even better. You know what I mean? I don't want to be the only podcaster out here.
Dude,
So
I know there's like a lot of like we were saying before, there's a lot of other Hmong podcasters. Have you thought about collaborating with them too?
yeah, I have. I think I really want to focus on instead of like them coming onto my podcast, I really want to collab as in being a guest on their podcast, just to kind of expose myself to their audience. You know what I mean? But there hasn't been a lot of opportunities for me to go on other people's podcasts, just because then again, I'm still very new to this game and I don't have a big following, so maybe that's why. But then, yeah,
Honestly, I feel like you just got to find the right group of people. Like,
right.
for me, shout out to the Epic Sewers Podcast Network people, man, and definitely a big shout out to my boy Julian Hester of the What's in My Head podcast. This guy has been helping me with my podcast since we did our collaboration. Like what we did was kind of like what Kevin Smith did. We did part 1 on mine, and then we did a part 2 on his. That way,
Okay.
followers would have to go on both of our channels to watch the entire
Right.
2-hour episode. And it just I was invited to collab with some Hmong folks before, but to be honest, I wasn't really into what they were doing with their content. I didn't know how to say it, so I just kind of ignored it. And then eventually they let that go. I don't know, man. Like I'm not the type to say no. If you want to collab with me, we'll collab. But
Yeah, for sure.
like at the same time though, you gotta know who you're collabing with, man. Like you gotta do some research on people who you're collaborating. If you don't like what they're saying, then like you shouldn't. Especially if they're reaching out to you, like I didn't reach out to these people. They reached out to me.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Rick, you want to collab? And I'm like, yeah. Like, what's this about? And then they gave me the topic. I'm like, all right, I'll think about it. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't want to be a dick and say no, but at the same time, like, I've seen some of your guys' stuff. Like, there's some things I like, and there's some things that I don't like, and I can't help it. It's just my opinion.
Right. I mean, like I said, I would love to collab with a lot of people. You know what I mean? I'm surprised myself, like we were talking earlier. I'm surprised myself that I get so many famous people on my podcast, like and I'm such a small podcast right now. I think I only have almost 150 subscribers, you know what I mean? But then I'm surprised that the people that's come on, they've agreed to come on, you know what I mean? Like knowing that I have a small platform and not a lot of people watch it, but I'm grateful for the guests that has come on, especially like B Vang, the actor from Gran Torino. He agreed to come on. I was so like proud of that one because after the podcast we talked for a little bit and he was like, yeah, I'm actually going on CNN to talk about this stuff too. I was like, wow, like I got him before CNN got him. You know what I mean? And I think that shit is just like
what's up, CNN?
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, like those small things, you know what I mean? Like makes me so proud of my progress of my channel. And sorry, like I said, although it's small, I think it's growing, and I'm so grateful for the guest that has been on my podcast. I love every single one of them, and I'm just glad to be able to have a conversation with them. Not even conversation, but build a relation with all of them.
Yeah, like seeing your growth from when I first got you on the podcast, you nearly doubled your subscribers. So I've been keeping tabs on you, man. I've been watching the stuff, dude. Like I'm like, yo, my boy Austin's doing good, man. I'm very glad to see you improve, man. And especially again with these past guests that you've pulled. honestly, I never thought that you'd get them. Like you got KT killing them on your podcast, and DC Reacts
Yeah.
didn't get him on his show. You know, so that
Yo,
was a big move right there, big power move.
Surprisingly, with that one, he was like, yeah, I really appreciate you for asking me because not a lot of people want me on their stuff because of his tattoos and all that stuff. I was like, man, I don't care. You
All
know what I
these
mean?
old Hmong folks still
Yeah,
looking at him like, oh my
dude.
god, that's old.
Like I said, you know, I love controversial stuff. You know what I mean? If we're gonna make people mad, we're gonna make people mad. You know what I mean? So like, it's just stuff like that. Like that stuff, like means a lot to me when he said that. Like, oh, like I appreciate you for, you know, putting me on because not a lot of Hmong people like my stuff, or not a lot of Hmong people want to promote me. I was like, dude, fuck them then, you know what I mean? Because you're actually doing something great, you know, changing the whole game, you know. So
Yeah, especially like with music nowadays too. Like guys like him, Sons of No Town, Swami,
yeah,
even producers like Kinang Vang. You know, these guys are taking the whole music game to a whole nother step. You know, they're not
yeah,
just sticking with the Hmong community, man. These guys are doing things that that are out of the, I guess what you could say out of the norm for
mhm,
the Hmong folks. You know, like, I remember when I had Kinang on my podcast, over a year ago, I asked him, I was like, yo, you know, do you want to go mainstream or you want to stick with the Hmong community? Because he does produce a lot for Hmong artists
yeah,
too, but he told me, he's like, no, I want to go mainstream. You know, if there's an opportunity for going mainstream, I'm going to take it. And I
right,
think that's how a lot of us Hmong content creators nowadays, that's how we should be thinking, man. Like it's not, yeah, having support from the Hmong community is awesome, and it builds it's a very good not stepping stone, but it's a very good foundation to start off with.
right, mhm,
But if you really want to like break the mold, and definitely try to reach out to different communities, or find different avenues out there, because that's what I'm trying to do too with my podcast. You know,
mhm.
if you've seen, like I'm pulling, like, you know, guests from like doing cosplay to
Yeah,
different,
man.
like all these different genres of like media entertainment. You know, that
You're getting everybody, bro.
I'm trying to, like, honestly, Spoiler Force podcast. Like I've said this before on the podcast, man. Intentionally, I did not expect to get guests or interview people or any of that. I originally just wanted to do anime movie reviews and comic book reviews. I just wanted to talk about the nerdy shit that I liked, and then it just turned out that I enjoyed talking to folks. And then by the time I knew it, you know, I kind of just started off slow with people I knew, and next thing you know, I have freaking like Cloudy McDoom and Annie Mia on my podcast, man. Like it's
Yeah,
fucking
man.
wild.
It's crazy. The opportunities that are, you know, presented in front of you, you know. Yeah, like that's the thing too. Like for me, like I don't want to be known as the guy that interviews or talks with Hmong artists, right? I don't want to be known as that person, although I am doing that. I want to be known as, you know, like, oh, like he talks about passion, you know, he talks about people's passions and their careers and how to get in these different types of industries, you know what I mean? So like um I don't want to be known as the person who just interviews Hmong artists. You know what I mean? Although that's not a bad thing, I'm just saying I strive for so much more. You know what I mean?
Do you want to start your own podcast? Then sign up with Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout has helped hundreds of thousands of users to begin their podcasting journey. With easy to use tools, you can effectively get your podcast onto many platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and more. You can view stats, create audio clips, and even have your own podcasting website. Buzzsprout also offers ideas, tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you improve your podcast. Follow the link below, and once you sign up, you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card. This will let Buzzsprout know that I sent you and also support Spoiler Force Podcast. Happy podcasting. If you're into anime, manga, or anything that's from Japan, Otaku Detroit is the place for you. Located at 513 West, 11 Mile Road in Madison Heights, Michigan, you can find a variety of manga books, anime figures, collectibles, posters, snacks, and even authentic items from Japan. Stop on by to see store owner Matt and let him know Spoiler Force sent you. You know, speaking on Hmong artists, I listened to your episode with Art Lee.
Mhm.
I didn't know you had a part in music with 3Y. I don't follow 3Y like that, but I didn't know you were like a part of the whole Hmong music scene too.
Oh yeah, man, that was a minute ago. But yeah, I actually managed with my cousin DC. Shout out to DC. But yeah, I managed them because they were just my friends, you know what I mean? And uh I forgot how it all started really. Because my cousin was in there too, and he was like, I don't know how we got onto that topic, but then he was like, see, sorry, I don't know what's wrong with the thing. Might be my internet, but yeah, he was just like, yeah, do you guys want to manage? Because I feel like we need some management. I was like, yeah, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, it should be fun, you know? So yeah, we just managed them for a little bit. I think right when we got there, they released the song Come Through, and then we filmed the music video for it. But yeah, it was good times. But then now, but we parted ways. We're still good friends, but he like they're doing really good right now. Tuki and Michael them. So shout outs to 3Y, shout outs to Tuki Zhang and Michael T. Mike, they just dropped a song too. So shout outs to them. Go check it out.
Have you ever thought about dabbling in music though? Like trying to
I have, man, dude. I tell you, I think every Hmong person has tried music, has tried dancing. You know what I mean? I have dreams of writing songs and coming up with songs, and then when I wake up, it's gone, so that I can't even write it down. You know what I mean? But I do, and I do kind of want to dabble into it. I really want to dabble into rapping instead of singing. Yeah.
I was I tried, like we spoke about this on previous podcasts, but for the ones who don't know, I've tried doing music too. It just wasn't me, man. Like I guess for me, like even now, like the music taste that I have, it's so different because a lot of the Hmong folks that I grew up around, they all like rap, hip hop, R&B kind of thing.
Right.
But for me, I was more like 80s rock and like punk rock and that whole like My Chemical Romance scene. I was into that kind of stuff. All that metal rock heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess it was just being different like that. I just knew that Hmong folks won't they won't come around to this.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I used to I used to do like performances at like the Dovetail, and it's like a small little coffee shop here in Michigan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have some videos on my YouTube where I do some performances, and I remember this one performance I did. I fucking dropped my guitar on stage. Oh my god, dude, it was so embarrassing, dude. I was mid singing the song, and then just the strap, like the button that holds the button that holds like the bottom part of the strap where most of the weight's at, slipped, and I just I picked it up. No, it wasn't at the Dovetail. It was at a fucking Hmong soccer tournament. That's right. Oh my god, it's even worse.
Even worse.
All right, so all right, I'll tell this story because I haven't talked about this one yet. So, I was when I was trying to do this whole music shit. I tried to do like song covers. I wanted to be like Joseph Vincent and those people on the internet. So I practiced so hard playing these damn songs, and like I should have like seen these red flags, right? Where at the soccer tournament here in Michigan, I forgot where it was. I think for y'all who live in Michigan, I think it was where they did the park in Utica before they tore it down and made the whole park area into a school. Like these Hmong folks had like the small little stage set up, for like anyone who wanted to do like performances and stuff like that, or like public speaking. It was just like an open mic type of thing.
Yeah.
And me and another friend, we were like, yo, we're gonna do this, right? And so he goes first and he sings, and it should like my dumbass, it should have been a red flag because they had no amp, no aux cord, none of that shit. And I'm like, yo, how are they gonna hear me when I sing? And I was just like, oh, I don't know why. I did it. I'm just, and then mid song, I hate this song because I remember what happened. I was singing 5 Seconds of Summer. Was it the what's that song? They had one of their hit songs. It wasn't Amnesia. It was one of their other ones, the more uppity pop rock ones. But then I was singing it, and then the guitar dropped. And it was like the fact that like no one could hear me anyway, and then the shit like I was mid playing and you just hear the doom doom and like the fucking
Oh man.
guitar drop, and I look so stupid up there, but I was like, you know what? My pride kicked in. I was like, I'm about to finish this fucking song. So like, I finished the song and I walked off stage, and I never felt so stupid in my life. I was just like, yo, like that's when I knew I was like, fuck this music stuff, man. Like, fuck it. I'm not doing it. It should have been a red flag when there was no amp or anything up there, because like,
right.
because like I was just like, yo, how can y'all have an open mic and like I wanted to ask that to the old guy that was up there, but I don't know why I didn't ask him. I just maybe low key I was just trying to impress someone, but man, when I think of it makes me cringe. It's one of those things like you just suppress in the back of your head, and you're just like you don't want to think about it. So whenever I hear that 5 seconds of the summer song, I'm like, oh my god, I hate it.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's pretty traumatizing.
Dude, it's bad. It was so bad. It really made me think twice. Like, yo, do I really want to pursue this thing? And so now, like, I'm like very cautious. Like, if I ever do like any music performances, like I make sure like there's a mic stand. I make sure there's a mic. I make sure there's amps. I make sure like they got things going. And I don't know. Since then, I haven't really done music, but man, like in like the best way I can say it, like it's just like Hmong people, you know, like you gotta. Like it's just so more, you know, like oh my god, the humiliation of that, dude. It was so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I used to sing too, right? And I play guitar too, but the only thing is I stopped because I just couldn't get the timing. You know what I mean? Timing stuff is like very difficult for me when it comes to music. That's why like I want to rap and I want to like do stuff like that, but the timing, I'm just never on beat. You know, I don't have rhythm for some reason.
I learned how to get rhythm like because I used or when I was younger, the church I used to go to, the youth group there, they have people teaching how to play guitar and stuff like that. And so I had someone teach me how to play bass guitar, and I guess learning how to play bass guitar taught me how to keep rhythm and count beats. And then since then, I was playing bass guitar when I was like in 4th or 5th grade.
Oh, damn.
So I played it for like a good couple years, and then I picked up the guitar. And then, and I think just growing up as a kid, my mom raised me around a lot of music too. So like, you know, I naturally just found my rhythm when it came to music. Now, you talk about not having rhythm when it comes to music. I don't have rhythm when it comes to dancing. I can't dance or shit.
Oh, I can't dance either.
I see all these small kids like dancing out there. I'm like, oh, man, I wish I could do that. I look so goofy out there.
Dude, like the b-boy stage, I think everybody has gone through that. You know what I mean? The ones that actually compete in b-boying, you know, big ups to them. They can actually do it. But then the ones like us that like tried it, completely failed.
I only liked
tried.
I only like the whole b-boy stage because I like how they were dressing up. I've always wanted to just dress up like that in streetwear, but it wasn't me. I didn't have that look for it. I look too nice. You got to have like some sort of aggressiveness when it comes to, especially when it comes to streetwear. You got to know how to make that look work.
Oh yeah, man. I love streetwear too. I mean, like my channel used to be a fashion channel. You know what I mean? So yeah, streetwear is probably, you know, it's a confidence booster for sure.
Did you ever like the whole hipster swag wear? Like, I know some people who used to do like, you know, the big bolded glasses, like the fucking super skinny jeans and all that stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I was pretty young when that was a thing, right? So I wasn't able to get my hands on them anyways. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I was just never really into that. I think the whole like swag, the something we Asians got, thing, the wave. I was too young to be in that scene, you know. So I was just looking at people, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, they got some swag over there.
Let's take a look at some of these comments here, man. Alex Hurst says, Austin, can you freestyle?
Oof, I can't. I could try to make up something. Give me a topic. Give me a topic, Alex.
And then Bingo, yes, I remember that they used to do a good job. Oh, that's my mom. She likes to watch the podcast from time to time. So thank you, Mom. Love you. But yeah, you know, it's I was never really good with fashion. I always wore clothes to just look semi-decent. Like as you can see, I'm always wearing graphic tees.
Yeah.
You know, like anime nerdy stuff. Like I hate when I have to like dress up and look professional. I can't stand it.
Oh, really?
I hate it.
Dude, I love dressing up, man.
Like, if anything, the only thing I really liked out of fashion was hair products, like how you were doing. Like, I love Blue Mon products.
Yeah,
That dude's got like the nicest hair ever.
I know. Perfect.
I'm fucking jealous of that dude.
I know, right?
Dude, he's like an Adonis, dude. Like face wise, he's like an Adonis. He's got a good face, good facial structure. His hair is fucking poofy. I'm like, I'm kind of like low key gay for saying that, but like it's like the dude is like perfect for like just a face model. And so like when I follow his content, and then he released all his brands, like his first pomade and all that stuff, I bought that shit. And I still have some in my bathroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I still have some of his products. I haven't used all of it. Austin says heartbreak.
Ooh,
Every Hmong person's topic is heartbreak.
Yeah. I don't know. There hasn't been many heartbreaks in my life, really. Okay, I could come up with something. Hold on.
Dr. Seuss bars.
Yeah. Oh shoot, man, putting me on the spot right now. Why did I agree to do this? Shit. Okay. Nah, I can't do it.
Sorry, Alex.
I can't do it. Sorry, man.
Like,
I mean, give me a couple cans of beer. Probably I could probably freestyle. Yeah.
That was one thing I really wish I could do, was freestyle, or like even like Hmong people's version, like lupaho. Like there has to be like a rhythm, or you got to be quick and witty with it. Hmong rapper TL, he's really good at like being witty and creative with his word game. And like I think I heard him freestyle once or twice before. He's actually really good, and it kind of sucks that he's not doing music anymore, because I really liked his style. When it comes to just Hmong rap, I think he's one of the best.
Yeah, for sure. He's for sure top 3. You know what I mean? If not top 3, of course top 5. You know what I mean? So he a big inspirational, and a big for sure a big name in the rap game, in the Hmong community.
I tried reaching out to him too after I got LP on my podcast, but I was like, I couldn't get, like, there was no response. I couldn't get to it.
Oh, really?
But maybe if he watches this, maybe we can get a collab going. But that'd be something pretty cool, because I already got LP, and I had Jer Lee on the podcast. So
nice.
Hopefully I can get these Hmong boys on the podcast. We're all from the same state, man. So
yeah, they're from Michigan too.
Yeah, because I think when LP was still doing his podcast, the Snack and Chat, we were in talks of collaborating, but it never. I think with COVID, that kind of just ruined everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So it just never worked out. But yeah, man, it's awesome to see like a lot of Hmong content creators here, and especially at home. Because like now like there's possible collaborations, you can work with them and whatnot. And honestly, like I've always wanted to work with like Hmong, especially when it came to just making content. It's just now I found something that I can do, because I can't do music with them, so so I got to find a different way to work with them. But hopefully one day I can try to get these boys on, and we can do like I guess you could say like a round table talk on the podcast. I think that'd be
for sure. I mean, is it? Jer's still doing music, so that's one. Art coming back into the music game.
Is he? I it's funny. Like I know Art's brother Andrew, and I don't even keep up with Art that much.
Oh wow, yeah. He's right. I think right now he's just producing. Really, when we talked about it on my podcast, his episode, he really just wants to focus on producing, building a team of producers. You know what I mean? So. I think that's one of his goals, and shout out to Art, man. Yeah,
shout out to Art, man. I know he's going through some personal things at the moment, but I can't wait to see him come back, with the vengeance when it comes to his music. I like how he's because I've seen him work before, like before I was podcasting. There was because I know his older brother, and so when I used to go to their house to watch like The Flash or Arrow.
Oh man,
I used to always see him work in his basement, do beats nonstop, just play beats over and over. So like I've seen that grind. You know, it just we've never been able to collaborate because it's always like a timing issue. When he was free, I was busy, and then when I was free, he was busy. So it never worked.
Yeah. I mean, like honestly, I would put Art up there with the people that's changing the game, you know what I mean? He doesn't even notice he doesn't know to speak Hmong, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't speak Hmong on a regular basis. And when they dropped the song Yotsa, it was a hit, you know what I mean? And he didn't even know to speak Hmong, you know. So like imagine what he could do if he was able to do like that, you know what I mean? And I think he really wants to focus on, you know, English music and stuff like that. But it's just again the listeners, they would have to adjust it and not critique him because he wants to do just English music, you know what I mean? So we'll see where it goes, we'll see where it plays off. For sure, yeah, hit him up. I'm pretty sure he's down to do a collab with you.
Yeah, definitely in the future, man. I just I just like I said, man, it was just always timing issues. That's why like I just wait it out.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's like a lot of people that like either reaching out to me too, or like I'm reaching out to them. So hopefully I can try to get them on.
Mhm.
We got another question from Alex for you, Austin. He says, "Is there any shows you're watching right now or anime?"
I'm watching from Amazon Prime Videos, Invincible, watching that right now. That's about it, really. I'm rewatching the Marvel movies again. It's like my 10th, 11th time rewatching it. I could recite most of the movies. Yeah, I'm a huge Marvel fan, so I'm watching a lot of those, watching a lot of the shows that are coming out. I watched WandaVision, I watched Winter Soldier and Falcon. Can't wait for the Loki one. Yeah, I think yeah. Right now I'm just not really watching shows right now actually. I usually watch them pretty quickly. If it's not a weekly, if it doesn't come out weekly and it's just out like on Netflix, I could probably finish 3 season in a week.
Nice. I like that. Honestly, I like that format better. But I know with the whole weekly thing, it's more of a sure thing, like to know that your viewers are going to gravitate
Yeah,
towards
I get
that.
it.
Yeah. I didn't even get to watch. I haven't even watched Falcon and Winter Soldier yet.
Oh, really?
I've been
good,
so
man.
busy. I know I heard it's pretty good, and I already seen the costume review,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, that was bound to happen. But WandaVision I thought was all right up until where they fought the villain. I was just like, they kind of dropped the ball there.
Yeah, I mean, just going off those shows, right? WandaVision was good overall, and then what is the Falcon Winter Soldier? It's better than WandaVision, and then I think right now Loki is going to be even better than Falcon Winter Soldier. So really hype.
I feel like I'm not a big Loki fan. Like
Oh, really?
I like Tom Hiddleston. I'm not a big Loki fan though. I feel like the Loki thing is more definitely a fan service kind of thing.
Yeah. Mhm.
But then if they're doing the whole timeline stuff, I'm pretty sure they'll find a way to incorporate that with the MCU, especially with trying to make we're trying to find like a new big bad for the next phases. Definitely, excuse me, I feel like maybe this could be a way to introduce Fantastic Four.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be introducing Fantastic Four and the X-Men. So
yeah, that's where like WandaVision messed up when they brought in Evan Peters Quicksilver.
yeah, I know.
Dude, dropped the ball on that one.
I know. I was like,
just for a dick joke.
I know. I was like, oh, come on. That was such a good build up. They got everybody like hyped up for it. And then it was just a regular dude.
It was terrible. Oh, you know, I know you like Marvel, but did you watch the Snyder cut?
I watched
On
the
HBO?
Snyder cut. A lot better, honestly. A lot better. Everything makes sense. There's finally, I think I talked to this with my cousins too. They finally laid the foundation for DC, this cinematic universe. They finally have something to build off of, you know, with the Schneider cut. I really don't get why they didn't release that in the first place. You know what I mean?
That's what I said. I always felt like um I've always felt like Batman versus Superman should have been a two-parter because
Yeah.
there's just too much content in that movie to just do one. And I don't know, if it wasn't for Zack Snyder's personal thing that happened, like with his daughter, maybe they would have released it the way how they did the first time or this time. But at the same time, like, when you look at like Warner Brothers and AT&T, like they're catering to the kids for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. I think DC has a lot of the DC cinematic universe has a lot of pressure, right? Because they're competing with Marvel and building this whole universe, and that's why I think they put so much effort or so much stuff into one movie, and people just don't really get it. To be
Honestly,
honest.
what's okay, this is what was messed up too, because when they did Batman vs Superman, they released that during when MCU was releasing Civil War. And at this point of MCU, man, like Civil War was a climactic moment when it came to the Marvel movies, because it's like where it was before Infinity War, the breakup with the Avengers, and so they're already mid-story with like a built foundation, and then DC is just slowly starting up their story. You can't compete with that, and they reached out and tried to compete with Civil War. Anyway, I thought that was a bad move. They should have just kept a slow pace with the DC universe. Know that Marvel is already building this huge hype train. Might as well just take your time in these movies and build a good plot versus trying to sell or outsell and make toys.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I think the biggest problem with DC is character building. You know what I mean? They just put way too much information into one movie that nobody's gonna get it. You know what I mean? They're gonna pay attention for sure. Like the fans are gonna pay attention for sure, but then it's not gonna make any sense to them. Especially like newcomers that's getting into the superhero stuff. You know what I mean? It's not gonna make any sense. And then once they go back and we'll rewatch it, it's still not gonna make any sense. So the only reason why Marvel, I think, is so successful is because of character building. It's so relatable. You know what I mean? But then when it comes to DC, it's like there's like 4 characters that you have to pay attention to, not really good backstories. You know what I mean? So it's like it doesn't make sense and it's not relatable. You know what I mean?
All right, another question here. He says, "Do you watch Cobra Kai?" Oh, shit, I know you watch Cobra Kai.
I watch Cobra Kai. I think I've rewatched it like 2-3 times by now. Cobra Kai is good, man. I think I've watched the original Karate Kids too. It's good. I think it's really good. I think the fighting could be a little bit better. But then again, it's just traditional karate, so I don't know.
What do you think of that ending though for season 3 when they finally teamed up together?
I was hyped. To be honest, I was really hyped for it. Can't wait for season 3, right?
Season 4.
Season 4
is coming in. I was not expecting to see Johnny and Dan. I mean, in hindsight, you can see that, but then to see them work together in season 3 was something I was not expecting. I thought that they were gonna butt heads still or like compete again, and then Robbie going to Kreese was a big shift crazy for me. I wasn't expecting that.
Especially when Hawk came back to join them.
When he saved Dimitri though, that was actually such good character development for him.
But yeah, I think overall, season 4 we'll see the butt heads, right? Because they have such different styles of teaching and such different styles of karate. So I think they're gonna butt heads a lot, and we're gonna see that in season 4 for sure.
I'm pretty sure like the opening episode they're gonna be arguing already. Like Daniel's teaching like peace and defense, and Johnny's gonna be like, no, you gotta be aggressive and shoot the leg. Let's see. Alex says, "What's your favorite fight scene?" For me, I don't know. Cobra Kai's fight scenes weren't all that great. I like the moments though. Like I liked when Daniel and Chosen came back together and trained together. I thought it was pretty cool. But I guess you could say what I think was the best fight scene was probably when Daniel and Kreese fought, because that's something that was bound to happen.
Yeah. I mean, then again, like I said, the fight scenes or just the fighting in general is kind of mediocre to me. I think just because the actors are really doing their own stunts, you know. So I think that's why the fight scenes aren't as complicated or aren't
Well,
as
you can kind of see the
coordinated.
stuntman for Ralph Macchio.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you could tell who's his stuntman. Just like I could see it, but like he doesn't look that old, right? He's actually in his 60s, but he doesn't look it until he starts
Mhm.
moving and fighting. Like
Right,
that's when you
right.
see the old man, and I'm like, oh shit, he's old.
Yeah, like when he came back, I was like, damn, dude, this guy got old.
I gotta say though, I gotta say, if anything, Cobra Kai has great storytelling. Like their
Yes.
writers are really good.
That is, like I don't think we're there for the fighting. I think we're just there for the story. You know what I mean?
Everyone's just there for the nostalgia, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your thoughts on like actors being typecast like that? Like just seeing like Ralph Macchio. He's a fantastic actor, but everyone loves him as Daniel from Karate Kid.
Yeah. I think it's okay if they do it right, because I know like iCarly, the people they're gonna be coming back with a new series. I think if they do it right and they do it justice, I think it's okay just to kind of build off of what they've built a long time ago. But if they make it really dumb, I'm not gonna fuck with it. If they make, I don't know, like there's just certain shows that when they make reboots of, or they just continue it, like I think That's So Raven had one too with and she had kids. That one was okay, but then like the continuation of like older shows, I think if they do it justice and they don't take the same type of energy and theme out of from the old type of shows, and they keep it, I think that's what really makes it good. If they don't, but if they do take it out, yeah, I think it's kind of dumb. And I know like a lot of I don't watch TV now. You know what I mean? I'm just Netflix,
Waiting for the
Hulu.
next app.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, like I think a lot of shows now are kind of like mediocre. You know what I mean?
You were talking about iCarly. I'm not gonna lie, I did like that show growing up.
Yeah, same here.
And I find it funny though, because like before, everyone was like, as a kid growing up, people didn't like the show because Miranda Cosgrove was just, I'm not saying she was a bad actress, but like the concept of that show at that time was different for us watching it as kids versus now. Because
Right.
now when I look at us on Facebook, man, we're all trying to be like iCarly, man. We're all
Yeah.
trying to be, we're all trying to have a show. We're trying to be internet famous. We're trying to have a following. I'm like, yo, we're just like iCarly. And so I think that her with Miranda Cosgrove coming back on that show, dude, perfect timing. Because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be all adults watching that shit. It's not even gonna be kids.
I know. I think a lot of our generation is going to be watching it. Yeah. Hopefully they just do it good. I know. What is it? I don't know her real name, but the person that played Sam, I know she's not coming back for sure.
Oh, what's Jeanette McCurdy?
Yeah.
You heard about why she's not coming back though, right?
Yeah. I think she's just not acting anymore, right?
Yeah, she's got a podcast going, and then
Yeah.
I haven't listened to any of it, and but I was like, there was like some nights where I was just digging through the internet rabbit hole, right? I wanted to see why she wasn't coming back on iCarly. Turns out like she just doesn't want to act anymore because it brings up like a lot of bad memories of her being at Nickelodeon.
Mhm.
And apparently the guy Dan Schneider, the guy who does like all the shows there, was a real creep.
Oh,
he was creeping on all these little girls and shit like that. And there's like this one video. I don't want to play it on the podcast here because I don't want YouTube to take it down when I upload it. So but there was like this one video where Dan Schneider's on the not iCarly, but he's on the Victorious set, and like he walks around and like he goes, he you could tell he's trying to joke with them, but the mannerisms of the actors were like they kind of were creeped out.
Damn.
And you can find this on YouTube, and just like Ariana Grande was sitting on the floor, and she has like a really like short dress on, and so what's her name? The girl who plays Jade, I can't think of her name. She covers her legs real quick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so I'm like, oh shit, yo, that's some creepy ass shit, right? And then if you watch Victorious, there's like a part where like they have little skits at the end of the show, and Ariana Grande's character, she plays Kat. She plays like a really witsy, dumb, almost like a stereotype dumb blonde kind of character.
Yeah.
And so she was like, she was squeezing a potato, and she was saying something like, "This potato won't do something," and like there was a lot of like sexual innuendos and that, like she was like shaking the potato like this, and then like she was upside down, and like she had her head hanging off the end of the bed, and then they poured water, like she was pouring water down her, like so she could try to drink it. And I'm like, yo, man, this is some dirty ass shit, dude. Like they were making these little kids do this. Like, no wonder these actors on Nickelodeon got all fucked up from these experiences, man.
Yeah, man, it's traumatizing.
It's all like that Epstein type shit, man. Like, yo, man, these people are, like, these Hollywood people are wild as hell, man. Like it's so fucked up. When I was watching, like I was just going through the rabbit hole of all that. When I was reading and watching all this, like, yo, then no wonder these actors are crazy. Like when you look at are you familiar with like Amanda Bynes?
Oh yeah,
like how crazy she is, or let me correct myself, how society saw how crazy she was.
Yeah,
thought that she was being crazy, but really she was just like suffering through all like that post trauma from all that shit that she went through at Nickelodeon.
Yeah, it's sad, man.
And then like the whole Britney Spears thing. I didn't watch that documentary, but then I saw like a lot of like people's reaction on the internet. They were just like, yo, this is like Britney was messed up and that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's sad, man. Like growing up as like a child star and stuff like that, it's very traumatizing. Like even with Justin Bieber, we see it. You know what I mean?
Oh
like,
yeah, he's a good example for that one.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. Once you're a star and you're a child, you're not seen as a human anymore. You know what I mean? Like people just don't really care, and that's the sad part about it, and that's scary too. You know.
Okay, what do you think on this then? Because especially because of social media, but because of like things like this, like where children are more, they're going to be exposed to more of like the real world opinions and judgment and criticism. Do you think that kids should be trying to do content creating or acting and stuff like that as kids, or wait till they're older and then understand more of how the business works? Because my opinion, I don't think any kid should be doing it. As a parent, I would not want my kid to go through that.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a controversy, right? But I mean, honestly, like if the parents are doing it, they're probably just doing it because of the money. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people really have to look at if the child really wants to do it, okay, but then I think that's fine if they want to do it and they're passionate about it. I think that's okay. But then if they show signs of, you know, like not wanting to do it, or like if they're being forced to do it, I think now that's a problem. You know what I mean? Because we always we think like, you know, they're children, you know what I mean? And they don't know what they want, or they don't know what they're talking about because they're children, you know? But I think we underestimate children a lot. You know what I mean? They do know what they want. They know what if they like it or not. You know what I mean? So I think it's whether if the children actually want to act or want to be in that entertainment industry. If they want to, then yes. But then like if they show signs, or if they don't want to, then there should be no reason for you as a parent, especially, to force your kid to act. You know what I mean? Because or to be on a special diet to get a role. You know what I mean? That, I think, to me, that's crazy.
I don't think any kid should be forced to go through that kind of business or put into like that mentality of doing that. And I feel like that's why like nowadays with being a content creator, I think you see more older people or more experienced people finding more success in this stuff versus like the kids. You know, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. There's like kids out there making more money than we are. Like, for God's sakes, there's a kid that's making money by just opening toys and reviewing them. So
one YouTuber.
So I'm not saying like not every kid should do it, but you know, as an adult seeing this stuff, I just feel like that kind of exposure to a kid is not good for them in the long run. I mean, you brought up Justin Bieber. That's a great example, man. He throughout all the shit that he was going through, man, like even when I was in high school, I was like low key hating him. But then when you grow up, you kind of just like, oh shit, he was going through some pretty serious stuff, man. Like even with all that money he was making, the dude couldn't live a normal life, man. Like that guy was like all kinds of like low key messed up.
Yeah, so now it makes sense why he was acting out and stuff like that.
Yeah, but still doesn't. I personally think that even though you go through that, he can still choose to not be an asshole. But
for sure.
Yeah, maybe he's not one, but that's what I saw. But to move on from this topic here, I've got a few more things to bring up before we bring this podcast to a close. I know that you like to do this topic with your guest, man. When it comes to the whole 5 questions, who do you want to have dinner with? But before we do that, how did you come up with that on like this segment for your show? How did you come up with that?
To be honest, I stole it from somebody. It was from a radio show. I think Big Boy's Neighborhood. I listen to a lot of hip hop radio shows like Breakfast Club, Big Boy's Neighborhood, Vlad TV. I think it was from Big Boy's Neighborhood that he asked. I forgot what episode or what guest he had, but I think he asked that to the guest, and I was like, dang, it's such a good question. Like, one, you have the person think. Two, you have, because it either goes 2 ways, right? Somebody really thinks about it and answers, or somebody just names off people that they kind of want to talk to. You know what I mean? So it gets people thinking about it, and it really, I think every time. Sorry, I don't know why it's doing that.
Sorry.
I think every time I ask it, nobody can really give 5 people, and I think that's really shocking to me. But at the same time, 5 people is a lot, and I think it just makes the guests think a little bit more on who would they actually talk to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was thinking about like who would my top 5 be? Not just now, but like before. Like that kind of question is a pretty deep topic. Because especially when you bring in like whether they're still alive or whether they passed. There's a lot of people that you can learn from, right? So I'll start off with my 5. If besides my dad, my top 5 would be Michael Jackson for sure. Michael Jackson, Chadwick Boseman, Bruce Lee, and this is in no particular order. So whatever. So Michael Jackson, Chadwick Boseman, Bruce Lee, Freddie Mercury, and probably my 5th one, Jet Li. I've always been a Jet Li fan as a kid, so Jet Li.
Okay. Jet Li or Jackie Chan?
I'm a Jet Li guy, man.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Jet Li guy. I grew up watching Fist of Legend.
Yeah.
I used to always, as a little kid, I used to love like the workout scene he did in Fist of Legend. And then like his version of Chen Zhen, I've always thought was different. It was definitely a different take from Bruce Lee and Donnie Yen's take, because Donnie Yen's take is more of a homage to Bruce Lee.
Right.
So I always like Jet Li's version of Chen Zhen because it was just different.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so the question to you, Austin: top 5, alive or dead, talk or dinner with, who would you choose?
Yeah, I mean, since I asked this question so many times, of course I've thought about this question for myself. Yeah, like you said, no particular order. Eddie Huang, Ben Baller, Michael Jordan. Yeah, I see why this is hard. I see why people stumble. I think I would talk with Kanye for sure.
Oh man, that would be a very interesting talk with Kanye.
Yeah, I love Kanye, so I gotta talk to Kanye. And last one, probably I would say Jennifer Lopez. I think she's able to adapt to change and adapt to society to still be relevant.
You sure it's not because she's single now, man? She's
I
single.
didn't even know she was single.
She's single now, dude. She's single. Are you sure it's not because she's single right now?
I didn't even know she was single. Maybe it could work.
No, I gotta say, honestly, she still looks great at her age for being above 50 and to still look like that.
Yeah,
That
and
is
still be relevant, you know what I mean?
right.
Music
Crazy.
industry, so for sure. Yeah, I mean, but for sure, I would say top two for sure would be Eddie Huang and Ben Baller. I think those two guys, I look up to them I've looked up to them for so long. They're Asian and they're in the entertainment industry and the hip hop industry too, and you know they break barriers when it comes to Asians being in the hip hop industry. So for
Ben
sure.
Baller's the guy with like the jewelry and all that,
Yeah,
right?
mhm.
Yeah, okay, that's right. Because he was on Fun with Dumb. That's how I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah,
And he was like talking about like how he owns all those stores and they have like chains and all that stuff.
yeah.
That's why, dude. That's some mad money that he's doing making. And like,
Yeah,
he's
I mean,
making jewelry for all these rappers and stuff too. That's crazy.
big ups, yeah, because it's like you don't see a lot of Asian people in the industry, and if you do, then I know they get a lot of flack and a lot of criticism because people say they appropriate black culture, you know what I mean? But I don't think they're appropriating. I think they're just being an Asian person in the game, and it's just the product of the environment.
That's I agree with that. I've always felt like I have this talk with a lot of my a lot of other people, non-Asian folks, right? Because I like hearing their perspective on the
Right.
whole appropriation thing, especially with the Asians and Black community. This is my thoughts on this. So, I find there's so many similarities with the Black community and Asian community.
Yeah.
Especially how like we're raised and how we're taught at home. A lot of the similar family values, especially when it comes to like your moms or your grandma, raising to be disciplined, especially if it wasn't just like I said before on this podcast, man, if it wasn't for social media, I think there'd be a much more better understanding of both cultures.
For sure.
And I think that I don't want to get too philosophical or too deep on this topic, but I feel like if we just took time to really just understand each other's cultures and differences and find these similarities, there wouldn't be so much hate or like misunderstanding of one another.
Right.
And as long as you give credit to where credit's due, like if you take
Right.
people's like culture or credit or ideas, you got to give the credit to where it's due. And before we were recording, certain someone is
Yeah.
going through that, so you got to give credit. You got to give credit to them, man. You can't just
Right.
be making bank off of other people's work. But at the same time, man, you got to be smart. You got to know how to brand yourself. You got to know how to do all the legal stuff, and that's what we all should be learning. So,
Yeah. For sure.
before we wrap things up, man, I want to say thank you, Austin, for jumping back on the podcast, man. Thank you for being the first guest of the countdown to 100. I'm glad you were able to pull through. Let
Man,
the people
it's an honor. I appreciate you for asking me. I wasn't really expecting to be coming back, you know what I mean? So hey man, are we plugging right now or so?
Yeah. Let the folks know how they can reach you, how they can listen to their content, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. But before I do that, I just want to say, congrats for your countdown to 100. I know you've been working hard. I know you've been dealing with a lot of things, but dude, keep pushing. I believe in you. I'm a loyal subscriber too. So I'm glad and I'm happy for what you've accomplished so far in this journey that you're going through. So I really can't wait to see the day that you say, yeah, I made it.
Thank you, man. It means a lot, man. That's why I like having, not just big names, but people who are more in my, not to lower anyone than what they are, but to have some people who are coming up with me. That's
sure.
that's who we should be working with. Not it's great to have all these big names and stuff, but when you really look at it, man, we're all the ones that's coming up. I find that from what Dumbfounded said, we're gonna be the ones that's gonna be possibly mainstream next. So we got to help build each other up, so tear each other down.
For sure, man. And yeah, for the plugs, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Platinum Podcast. I think honestly, I think there's somebody else that has Platinum Podcast. It's these two, I think, German girls that has Platinum Podcast too.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. I was confused, but I don't even know if they're still posting. But yeah, just type Platinum Podcast. Spotify. I think Spotify somewhere. Apple Podcasts. I think that's it. But yeah, follow me. Yeah, come. And also if you want to be on the podcast, just let me know. I'm pretty easy to work with. I'm pretty chill, pretty relaxed. I mean, I'm just let's just talk, guys. Let's make a conversation.
That's right, man. If you guys want to jump on either Spoiler Force or Platinum Podcast, just reach out to us. We'll gladly try to work with you guys. Just don't be mad if we say no.
Exactly.
But no, I'm just playing, man. I welcome anyone and everyone. Just make sure you clarify with me what the topics are. Just me, not Austin, but for me. But yeah, man, I want to say thank you again, man. Just thank you so much for finding time to do this, man. And I'm glad to see your the progress that you've made as a podcaster and content creator, man. I can't wait to see what you have more in store. Definitely looking forward to your next couple guests that you've got lined up, and hopefully you find bigger and better names out there too, man. Not just in the Hmong community, but hopefully you get to work with other podcasters out there.
For sure.
All right, so folks, this is episode 90 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and have a great weekend.
Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. If you have any guest recommendations, comments, questions, concerns, or criticism, you can email me at rickyvang92@gmail.com or message me online on any of my social media platforms. Want to listen to more pop culture themed podcasts? Then check out the Epic Sewers Podcast Network. There are shows like the Epic Tales from the Sewers, the Comic Watcher Show, What's in My Head Podcast, and Spoiler Force Podcast. Make sure to follow us each on social media and find us on any major podcasting platform. Thank you for the support.